The Go Slow Whoa model teaches us how to distinguish foods based on the amount of fat, added sugar, and calories that they contain. In this video, we'll go over some foods that you can eat all the time, or Go foods, some foods that you can eat sometimes, or Slow foods, and some foods that you can eat occasionally, or Whoa foods. Learning about Go Slow Whoa will help you to make the healthiest choices for your body. Before we begin, we're going to dive into the definitions of all three categories. Go foods are foods that are lowest in fat and sugar and calories. They're great to eat anytime. You can think of whole foods like fruits and vegetables. Slow foods are foods that are higher in fat, added sugar, and calories. These should only be eaten sometimes or less often. Think of foods like 100% fruit juice, pancakes, and baked chips. Whoa foods are the foods highest in fat, added sugar, and calories. These should only be eaten occasionally or in small portions. Think of foods like French fries, donuts, and ice cream. Now we're going to move on into some more examples. So the main takeaways: Go foods we can eat all the time. Slow foods we can eat sometimes. And Whoa foods we can eat occasionally. Now that we've gone in depth on the board, let's join Grace at home to recap and look more into common pantry items and where they fit into our model.
Hey guys, my name is Grace and I'm one of the student directors for Kids Cooking Coalition. And today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about how you can know how much of certain foods you should be eating and which foods need to be taken in a little bit more quantity or less. And the way we model that is through the Go Slow Whoa model. So to start, we're going to go with Go foods. And the first one I have is bananas. Really, any fruit or vegetable contains a lot of vitamins and nutrients that are good for our bodies. So consuming them in high quantities is good for you because they tend to have low calories and low sugar. Bananas in particular are high in potassium, which is a really important element for our brains. Another one is oatmeal. This is a great breakfast because it keeps you full for a long period of time, and they're usually made of whole wheat and whole grains, which are great for our bodies. And then finally I have skim milk, which has a lot of the calories and sugar reduced that milk with higher percentages would have. So when you have a choice for milk, skim milk is always a great option. The next category we have is slow foods, which these foods still have nutritional value, but they do tend to be high in things like fat or sugar, so it's good to keep them to a limited amount. One great example is peanut butter, which is high in protein, something very important for our bodies, but it is high in fat, so it's important to only use the directed amount for it, which is usually about 2 tablespoons. Another common one are different kinds of granola bars. This one in particular says that it's made from fruit and it is high in whole grains, which are great things, as we learned about earlier, but they do tend to be high in sugar, so it's important to keep these to a minimum, maybe 1 a day or less. Another one are nuts, which are a really tasty snack, also high in protein, but again, usually high in calories and fat, so again, to a minimum. The last category tends to be my favorite category of foods and probably a lot of yours. These foods are usually high in sugar and don't really have a ton of nutritional value, but they're still great to enjoy in limited quantities, just making sure to not have them multiple times throughout the day. One of these is high sugar cereals. One example is Trix. As we talked about earlier this year, there are better options for breakfast cereals that are higher in fiber and have lower amounts of sugar. For example, this one only has 1 gram of fiber. As we talked about in class, we should be looking for cereals with a little bit more content because it keeps you full longer in the day. The last 2 things I have up here are desserts. This is a brownie mix and ice cream, wonderful treats, but very high in sugar, very high in calories. So just make sure that when you consume those, you're aware of how much you're putting into your body and keeping them to a minimum. Thank you guys.